Hi, Cassini.
Hi, Cranberry. How's it going?
It's going good. What's John Wick about?
Right. So, basically, Keanu Reeves is a guy
Uh-huh.
who leads, from what we understand, a relatively normal life, except for the fact that he's got a fucking mansion. It's obviously an American movie, because everyone in American movies are rich.
It's true.
And then his wife dies. I think, she dies. I think she got like
You don't
cancer
remember.
or something. I remember exactly what happened. And then his wife dies, and he's really sad for loads of those. For like 10 minutes, like sad for like 10 minutes, and then she sends him a dog from the afterlife. She does though. Like, how could she? Like, she writes him a letter and everything. Like, how would you even organize that? But like, especially if she had like some illness when we didn't know when she was going to die, right? I mean, what if she was still alive at that point and then the dog shows up and she's like, well, this is awkward.
I wasn't aware
This
there
was
was a
for if
paranormal aspect to John Wick.
Of course there is.
So he gets this
Keanu.
dog.
He gets this little pupper, and he doesn't like the pupper because just having a dog land on your doorstep, I'm sure, is a massive inconvenience. Yeah, I'd be like, oh my god, my wife's sending me small animals from the afterlife. And then, I mean, I don't know what happens in John Wick 2.
They didn't show the other animals in the movie. They only featured the dog.
Yeah. Well, they don't realize he accidentally kept killing them.
Oh my god.
He's like, I've sent you this tortoise, which he forgot to feed. And then he's like, okay, I've bought you this pair of hamsters. Didn't realize he was supposed to keep them in a cage, and then up the Hoover. And then she's like up there with her wings going,
Why does she keep
John.
trying?
Fuck's sake, John, what animal can't you kill? I know, let's send him a dog. Gets a dog, and he's like, I don't like you. You make a mess and you're noisy. Then he's all like, I suppose you're all right. Have some cereal. And then he's like, I know, let's go to the dog store and buy you dog accessories.
Oh, I'm glad they bought
he
it.
drives down the road, and then he's got to stop for petrol because his car is an American muscle car.
Yes.
Those things eat fuel like no one's business.
He couldn't make it 2 minutes down the road without.
Couldn't make it 2
gassing up
minutes.
the car.
He strategically placed his house like 2 minutes from the road for a gas station, and at said gas station he bumps into Theon Greyjoy. Theon Greyjoy is like
as Theon Greyjoy.
character. It has Theon. He's got a hoodie on, or Alfie Allen, as not a lot of that's his actual name. People in America probably don't care, but he's the younger brother of Lily Allen, who's a very popular English singer.
Take that,
She wrote,
Americans.
she wrote a song called Alfie, and it was about him.
Aw.
Anyway, fucking Theon Greyjoy pops up and was like, yo, that's a nice dog. Because he's an English actor. He can't really do a good American accent. He's like, yo, that's a nice dog. Nice car. How much for the car? And John Wick's like, you can't have my car. A stupid thing to say.
It's pretty weird to just try and buy someone's car when you meet them.
Yeah, he's like, how much do you want for your car? And it's like, can't you see me filling this up with petrol? Like, I quite clearly need this car to get about. You absolute mong.
You're
But
not going to Uber me to where I need to go. I need
yeah,
this car.
like shit. Could you imagine like ringing for an Uber and John Wick showing up in that car? That'd be amazing.
You bring a dog on an Uber? I don't know if you can.
I don't know. I've never gotten an Uber. If you guys want a free Uber, use the code
Yes, we're
hashtag
partnered
John
with Uber.
Wick.
We partnered with Uber and John Wick.
Other vehicle services are available. But anyway, yeah, and then John Wick's like, no, you can't have my car. And he's like, yeah, but I want your car. And then he says something in, I think he was Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Can't speak Russian, so I would try, but it would be quite racist.
I appreciate the fact that you're self-aware about it.
He's all like, who blows you, who blah, blah, blah.
Well, that didn't stop
And
me.
then John Wick's like, blah, 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 blah. And fucking old Theon Greyjoy gets quite offended. He's like, yo, fuck this guy. Oh,
He
everything's
kicks
breaking.
a can in rage.
And he's like, oh, fuck this guy. I don't like that. And so anyway, John Wick drives off.
Okay, to the store
I think so.
to get puppy stuff.
They didn't really explain much what he was doing in that scene. I suppose that was just for context.
Just doing stuff.
He was just driving
He
and
needed
had
to
the
get
dog
out.
in the car. He didn't even the dog wasn't even on a leash, and it didn't have one of those like harnesses that you're supposed to put
It's a
when you
small puppy.
put a dog in a car. It might die. That's a really fast car. We know what John Wick's like with pets.
It's true. It's a miracle that dog survived.
Well, if you let me finish.
Okay, continue.
So, and then I'm sure there's a scene where John Wick's driving his car really angrily, but I think that was before. I think that's before he
Why
got
is
the dog.
this disjointed memory?
Anyway,
John Wick
John
driving
Wick's
angry.
in bed, and the dog's in bed. The dog's like, "Oh, I have to go and pee." Bark, bark, bark. And he runs downstairs.
Aw.
And John Wick's like, "Huh, I guess you need to go pee. Let's go downstairs." And then, bam, baseball bat in the face.
What?
Yeah, he got fucking twatted right in the cheek. And then he's on the floor and he's like, "Oh, this is a disruption to my life."
A little bit, yeah.
And so they start towing him in, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck you, guy. I said I wanted to buy your car, dick." This is one thing that I didn't quite understand. Like, they quite clearly didn't care that he knew who they were, because he takes his mask off, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Haha, it was me the whole time."
It was me, the asshole.
What was the point in wearing masks in the first place?
I don't know. To look
Doesn't
cool.
make any sense. And then the puppers are like, "No, stop hurting my John Wick." so I think they
So
stamp on it.
Oh.
I think they stamped on the dog.
That's
It made a proper little yelp, but
Oh.
which, in my experience, you only make when accidentally standing on a dog.
How far into the movie are we at this point?
I want to say like 20 minutes.
Okay, so super early. The movie hasn't happened yet.
Not really. I mean, this is just to build up the tension. So it's like, oh, he's got a really hard life, and he's got a dog. Now his dog's dead. And obviously, I think there was some sort of factor about his wife dying.
That might have been.
But I think it was the dog that really pushed him over the edge. For
all
me,
those
it would
other
have been-
animals didn't matter.
For me, it would have been, getting kicked in by a bunch of hooligans, but I'm not a hitman, so I guess I would have just called the police and cried.
Oh,
I'm not him. He's big and strong.
maybe
Knows
that's
how
what
to
happens
use
in
guns.
John Wick 2.
It must be. I'd like to think he marries the dog,
In
and then the
second-
dog dies. Yeah. Yeah, he marries the dog, and then the dog dies, and then the dog sends him a kitten from the afterlife,
Mhm.
and the kitten owes money to the
Oh
Yakuza.
my god.
And then, so they kill it, the kitten, and then that's what sparks John Wick Chapter 2.
This is the last fucking time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to think that's what happens.
So John
But-
Wick wakes up, right? I'm
John Wick
guessing.
wakes up, and he sees the dead puppy, and he's like, "Oh, I guess I better bury him."
Oh.
So fortunately, he's got a box on hand, so he puts the dog in the box, and then he buries the box. But he keeps the dog's little necklace.
Okay. It's collar.
That's the one. I'm good with movies, not words. And then he's all like, "Oh, I'm angry now." Then
He sounds
Cue.
real angry.
and then it's Keanu Reeves. Let's face it. He's got. I love Keanu Reeves, but he's got a fairly monotone voice.
It's true. It's true.
He doesn't really get angry, does he? Except for the one scene in John Wick. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So then, cue Russian guys driving off in John Wick's car, obviously having
they
a
took
good
his car.
laugh. Yeah, they took his car. Of course, they took his car. He was
Fair
going to buy it, but obviously it wasn't for sale. They take it to John. Oh God, I can't pronounce his name properly. John Leguizamo.
Oh, John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. That sounds much better. So they take it to his automobile workshop,
Okay.
and they're like, "Hey, yo, we need new papers for this car, a new license plate." And John, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him Sid the Sloth.
Okay.
Well, he did the voice of Sid the Sloth in Ice Age.
That's
He was-
that's the connection. That's where
Well-
you know him from.
I mean, I know him from a few other places.
You call him Luigi.
He was in Spawn.
He's Luigi in the Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah, but that movie doesn't exist.
You're right. Sid the Sloth is much better. So Sid the Sloth owns this auto shop.
Or, I mean, I could use him. He played the clown in the Spawn film.
Oh my god.
Violator. That was his name. Good times. And he was in Romeo and Juliet,
Fair enough.
the one that you haven't seen,
It's true.
which you need to.
That'll be on deck. That's another one.
I think
That's
he
a
played
future
like
episode.
Benvolio. Was it Benvolio?
Oh,
My Shakespeare's
Benvolio,
a bit
really?
rusty, but I think he was also in Gamer. That was also a dope film. Gerard
Dope
Butler.
as shit.
Dope. I'm going to start using dope unironically.
Mm.
Anyway, so they take him to Sid's house, shop. He's like, "I need papers." And he's like, "Where the fuck you get this car?" And he's like, "What's the matter?" He's like, "Where'd you get the fucking car?" He's like, whatever. So he fucking bitch slaps him.
Jesus.
And Greyjoy's all like, hey, you're a dick. I don't like that. He's like, yeah, fuck you. And then he drives away. then cue entrance of scary Russian gangster. Spoilers. It's Theon Greyjoy's dad.
Oh.
Anyway, and then Russian guys are like, I understand you struck my son. And he's like, well, yes, sir, I did. He's like, why am I ask that you did that? He's like, because he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog. And he's all like, fuck. And he hangs up the phone.
So everybody knows who John Wick is.
I know, right? I was very surprised. I was like, oh, he must be a big deal at this point. I was like, maybe he's like a defense lawyer or something for knowing all these criminals. I mean, that would explain the money, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Keanu Reeves doesn't really strike you as the assassin kind of guy, is he? I suppose that's why they did it. I'm sure in the book, I'm sure John Wick was based on a book, and I'm sure in the book, John Wick was like a 60-year-old man. Or it might have been like the original story for John Wick. He was like a 60-year-old dude. Obviously, Keanu Reeves was like, I totally want to do this movie. And they kind of changed it for him.
I mean, Keanu Reeves just hasn't aged visibly.
No, not like since like the 16th century. He's not aged at all. Spoilers. He's 900 years old.
Happy birthday, Keanu.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for listening
happy
to this podcast.
899th. Keanu Reeves, if you're listening to this, you met my dad once.
Photos going up with your
approval.
photo.
Put it up. That's my dad.
Uh-huh.
That's my dad and Keanu Reeves. I think that was shortly after John Wick came out, actually. I knew what he was doing there. I assume he likes cars. That was Goodwood Festival Speed. There's a racing thing with lots of fast cars.
Hope you had a good time, Keanu. Let's do another one for your 900th birthday.
Yeah, I'll buy you an ice pop. But anyway, back to the story.
Yes.
And then the Russian guy is all like, bring me my son. So his son shows up and he's like, hey, yo, Papa, we did that thing that you asked us to do that they didn't touch up on in the story. He's all like, you killed John Wick's dog. He's all like, who? Like, fucking sucker punches him in the stomach. And he's like, John Wick is a dangerous man and he kills lots of people. But he retired. He got married. And then she died. And then he got a dog. And then you killed it. And then you got a car.
It's like they only watched the movie up to this point and they're describing everything that has happened.
Yeah. It's like you stole his car and you killed his dog. Very bad. He's like the boogeyman. And he's all like, I'll kill John Wick. He's like, this fucker didn't listen to what I was saying. You're like a baby. He's going to fucking eat you. And so John Wick's all like, and then they cut to John Wick in his garage, maybe, I suppose. I don't really know where it was. It was like a basement type room with a sledgehammer, and he's breaking the floor and breaking the floor and breaking the floor.
Bam.
And he pulls out a big suitcase full of gold doubloons and pistols.
In the
suppose
same
that
suitcase?
means that Keanu Reeves was also a pirate.
Oh.
Which is apt because Ian McShane's in the movie, and Ian McShane played Blackbeard in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
That's how it works. If he's in the movie, you gotta have doubloons somewhere.
Absolutely.
He will refuse to sign a contract otherwise.
Also, I love Ian McShane. He's
Ian McShane,
amazing.
Thank you for listening.
I want him to be my granddad.
All right, we'll work on that.
Anyway, and then he's all like, he picks up loads of monies, little gold coins. They don't really touch up on what those gold coins are for. I'm assuming it's some kind of illegal currency.
It's just decorative.
Maybe they're chocolate coins.
Aw.
And the assassin world just has a real sweet tooth.
He was on a diet. He was trying to bury him so he didn't eat him.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to throw him away.
No, my dog's dead, so.
Aw. He buried the chocolate so his dog wouldn't get into it.
Yeah, but now his dog's dead, so he doesn't need to bury it anymore.
All right.
That's how it
works. Out with the doubloons.
And then the Russian guy calls up John Wick. He's like, hello, John. I understand that my son killed your dog. Please don't kill my son. And John Wick's all like, yeah, ain't gonna happen. And he's like, please don't kill my son. And John Wick's like, no, you killed my dog. And he's like, please don't. And Keanu's like, I'm gonna do it. So then he hangs up the phone. and the Russian guy's like, fuck, shit. He's like, I need you to gather all your troops. And the dude's like, I don't know how many. And he's like, how many have you got? And then John Wick's in the shower. He's got loads of cool, like, Russian prison tattoos. And then he puts his suit on and he gets his guns. He's like things that people do with guns. I don't know how to use a gun, so they make it do the click sound, like that.
Uh-huh.
And then, Oh yeah, John Wick.
What are we talking about?
And then,
So he's all cleaned and ready, and
he's all
got all his
cleaned up,
guns,
and he's all dressed up in his
super
nice
cool.
suit. And he looks fucking suave.
How's he doesn't have a car. How's he gonna go anywhere?
He gets on a bus.
Really?
Yeah, he's a bus wanker now. We kind of skipped past that bit. But in the movie, John Wick gets on a bus.
Okay.
And he's got a shirt that's covered in blood. He doesn't even change out of it. He'd at least put it in the washing machine.
It's gonna stain.
It is. Blood
Might as well
is
throw it
a
away.
horrible thing to get out, especially if it's a white shirt. Anyway, a bunch of assassins break into his house. They clearly don't know that John Wick is like El Numero Uno Assassino. He just starts shooting all of them in the head. And the dude jumps out and he gets shot in the head. And then a dude shoots at John Wick and misses, and he gets shot in the head.
Oh,
then,
no.
then another guy ends up getting flipped up on a table, gets his fucking neck snapped, and it's all like... and then he gets shot in the head. And then another guy trips over a tea towel, he gets shot in the head. And then the dude's all like, no! It does like the diving, gets shot in the head. And then the last guy who's slightly less, his head is slightly less of a magnet for a bullet. And then John Wick gets a kitchen knife and stabs him, and then he gets shot in the head. And then the doorbell rings, and he opens it, and it's a police car, and he's all like, oh, hey, John. And he's like, oh, hey, Jimmy. His name might actually have been Jimmy. Like, oh, hey, Jimmy. He's like, oh, how you doing, John? And then he's like, yeah, not too bad, Jimmy. What can I do you for? He's like, oh, I've had a noise complaint. And John Wick's like, yeah, it's probably all the shooting in the head that I've just been doing. And then Jimmy's like, well, I guess I'll leave you to it then. Not a very good police officer, if you ask me. But I'm assuming they knew each other. Doesn't get touched up in the movie. A lot of things they don't explain in this film.
Well, that explains why he didn't call the cops. Because they just answer the door, say hi, and leave.
Oh, yeah.
Good old
Yeah.
Jimmy.
You working tonight, John? He's all like, I'm just working some things out.
I want to see an offshoot movie. John Wick 1.5 from Jimmy's point of view.
Jimmy, yeah, he's like, hello, dispatch. Yeah, we've got a noise complaint with it's a gunshots. It's a John Wick residence. And he's like, oh, hey, John, I haven't seen that guy. I haven't seen him since college. Let's go and see John Wick. I hope he doesn't shoot me in the head. He drives down. And he's like, oh, man, I'm going to see my buddy John. And then he gets out the car. And he clearly hears all the gunshots of the people getting shot in the head. And he opens the ding dong. And John opens the door and he's like, oh, hey, Jimmy, how's it going? He's like, oh, hey, John. It's like, noise complaint? Yeah, it's probably all the people I've been shooting in the head.
At least
The
he's honest.
end.
The roll credits. Jimmy's story has come to an end.
Jimmy. Poor
A
Jimmy.
job well done.
He should get his own spin-off show.
So John Wick has shot all these people in the head.
Shot all these people in the head. Now he's got to get rid of the bodies.
Oh, that's
How's
a lot
he
of
gonna-
bodies.
How's he going to do that? He's all like, I'm going to call a pizza place.
What?
No, legit.
What?
He's all like, I'd like to book a reservation.
Does he
for
sound
the...
that fucking shifty on the phone when he's calling?
Probably not. I'm not very good at doing. I'm not very good at doing an impersonation of Keanu Reeves.
I just like
Is
it's
that-
shady as fuck calling the number.
Hi, this is John Wick. I'd like to book a dinner reservation for 6 p.m. There's some dead bodies in the kitchen. And the guy's like, I'll be right there. And then some shady little skinny dude shows up with some fucking huge motherfuckers. And they're like, we've come to do some cleanup. I think that guy, I recognize him, but I can't remember where he was from. His name wasn't Jimmy. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, and then these dudes show up and they're like squeegee, they've got their squeegees out and they're and they're squeegee cleaning the windows, cleaning all the blood off, and they're like, and they're mopping the floors, dragging all these dead bodies, and then they wrap them up in plastic, and then they got the little squeegee, like wax on, wax off, cleaning the windows. And surprisingly, all of these people died, and all of these guns got shot about. Not a single window breaks.
Maybe they were self-conscious and they didn't want to damage the property.
Yeah, maybe. That would make sense.
We'll go with that.
Who knows these things?
So did they clean up the whole house?
Jimmy? His name was
Jimmy the cop?
Jimmy. Yeah. Oh, his name was
Did you remember-
Charlie. That was it.
Charlie, okay.
Yeah, his name was Charlie, and he's got the nice hat. I know I've seen him in something, and I'm probably going to scream it out in the next 5 minutes once I remember what it is.
That's fine. House is clean, bodies are gone.
Anyway, yeah, sorry. And then all the bodies get picked up, and they get chucked in the back of a van, and he's like, "First, we're doing business with you, Charlie," and gives him some of the chocolate coin, and they drive away. And then that was the end of that part of the movie.
Okay. Next chapter. How does it begin?
Then,
Boy, what a wacky Wednesday John Wick has had today.
anyway, then he goes to a hotel because he thinks, my house was covered in blood, it's all been cleaned. I need a vacation. So he gets some clothes in a suitcase. He gets his little suit jacket thing, and he gets in his nice borrowed car that the clown from Spawn gave him. Anyway, he gets to the hotel. Cue old Lance Reddick, who's top actor, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Top Lance Reddick, Waterboy. He was in a show called Bosch, which is such a great sound. And he's like, is also going to be incredibly racist. He's like, "Hello, Mr. Wick." And he's like, "Oh, hey, man, how's it going?" He's like, "A room for you, please, sir." And he's like, "Yes, please." He gives him some chocolate money. He's like, "You will be in room 8. I don't know. I have you for 2 days." He's like, "Oh, thanks, man."
A lot of uncertainty going on in these interactions.
Yeah.
So he
The
goes
whole
into
movie
room
was
8, maybe.
purely ad-lib.
There
Whole
was no
movie was
script.
purely ad-lib. No
They're
script
very
at all.
controversial.
In fact, I wrote it, and this is how I speak. So it's very true to life. He's all like, "Oh, like some food, please." He's all like, "No problem, Mr. Wick." So then he goes to his room, and he puts on his nice suit, and he's all like, "I fancy going out for a drink." He goes down the stairs, across the corridor, through the kitchen. All the chefs were very confused. And he goes downstairs again. He goes up to a little door that's got a little coin hole in it, like in an arcade machine. And he puts the chocolate coin in. And then the door goes... And then the door opens. And it's a nightclub. It was very surprising.
Ooh.
And it's all like... You know, like the opening scene of Blade? Without the vampires. And then he walks past a woman who's got a cigarette. She becomes important later on. And then he goes and he sits down next to Charlie McShane, who's a great man. Charlie McShane? Ian McShane. Fuck you, Charlie.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything apart from be in my head. So he meets Winston.
Mm-hmm.
I think his name was Winston. He plays like a refined English gentleman, so strikes me as a Winston.
Sits down with Winston.
Ian McShane and John Wick.
Of all the things you could have looked up, this is the first one that makes you look it up.
Yeah, his name's Winston.
Okay.
Sweet. And he meets Winston, who's drinking a little martini, doing his crossword, because that's what stereotypical old English people do in movies.
Yes.
With his little glasses, and he's like, "Oh, hello, John. How are you today?" So this is an accent I can actually do. He's like, "I thought you'd retired." And he's like, "I'm working on it." And he's like, "Well, you're not doing a very good job of it."
Oh.
And he's like, "Ha ha ha ha." He's like, "If you dip a pinky into this pond, you get your finger wet." And he's all like, "It's personal." He's all like, "Well, you know I can't help you, because this is a hotel, not a League of Assassins." But it was.
Ooh.
And he's all like, "I can't give you the information that you need because it's against the rules." And John Wick's like, "Oh, you're a dick." And he gets up and he goes to the bar and he meets a hot chick who they don't explain who she is. You don't see her again, which is very upsetting. She was a gorgeous lady. He's all like, "Oh, how you been? I haven't seen you in ages, John. How you doing?" Charlie. His name's... Yeah, fuck. He's fucking T-Bird in The Crow.
Feel
Yeah.
better?
Fire it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. That's such a good movie. Everyone, if you haven't seen The Crow, watch it right now. Stop this video and watch The Crow, and then come back.
We can do another one about the Crow. Stop
Crow's
this video.
such a
Watch the
good
one about the
movie.
Crow that doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't exist.
Wait
It'll
until it
come
comes
soon.
out.
It will be out in June of 2020.
You're gonna be waiting a long time.
Anyway, and then she's at the bar, and then she's all like, "Oh, can I get you, John?" The usual. So she gives him a napkin, and it's got something written on it. They don't explain what it is. They never explain shit in this movie. It's a miracle it was a good movie. But anyway, and then he's like, "Oh, thanks, babes," and then he goes away. Then cue another nightclub. She's got a swimming pool in it.
Okay.
Old Theon Greyjoy is all like singing something in Russian, and he's all like, are you scared of the boogeyman? And then the guy's all like, I'm here to babysit a little bitch. And he takes his
Whoa.
bottle of wine, and then he's all like, I want another bottle. Which I think they did to make him look like a baby,
Mm-hmm.
because he was a bit of a
Being a
baby.
baby.
And he was all like, I want a bottle. Go get me another bottle. and then one of his old Russian mateys gets out of a taxi cab. I'm using your American words now.
Ooh, thank
He
you.
gets out of a taxi cab, and then he goes through a little door, and then he takes his clothes off, and he starts doing his teeth. I think he was flossing, because dental hygiene is important.
That's what I take
And
away
then-
from this movie.
And then John Wick shows up behind this big old Russian bouncer with puts a gun to his head, and he's all like, "Hey, Jimmy," and he's all like, "Mr. Wick," and he's all like, "How's it going, Jimmy? Have you lost weight?" Every other person in this show in this movie now is called Jimmy.
It's fine. It's a common name.
It's a common name.
I thought it might be the
especially
same
in
character
America.
that reappeared, but it's just another Jimmy.
I think his name is Jimmy. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, Jimmy." Francis. His name's Francis. He's like, "Oh, hey, Francis. How you going?" He's all like, "Mr. Wick." He's like, "Have you lost weight?" "I've lost 7 pounds." He's like, "Congratulations. You look good." He was like, "Oh, thanks, man. How you been? Seen you in a few years. I thought you retired." He's like, "Are you working?" And he's like, "Afraid so, Jimmy." Francis. He's like, "Oh, I'll let you go through then, because I don't want to get shot in the head." This is one of the only smart people in this entire movie who knows that John Wick's massive, out of his entire repertoire of skills, the most efficient thing that he has is the ability to shoot people in the head. But anyway,
He made
and
a
then
smart
John Wick
decision.
comes in and he fucking beats up this half-naked Russian dude in a towel and drowns him in an inch worth of water. Like, seriously, like an inch worth of water. He drowns him in it. He's like... So John Wick's still sneaking around in the shadows of the swimming pool, killing everybody, shooting everyone in the head. There's a very important scene coming up. Very upset about this scene,
Okay.
because throughout the entire movie so far, he has proven he's incredibly good at putting bullets in people's faces.
Yes. He's
Very good
demonstrated
at it.
quite a bit.
He's demonstrated it flawlessly. John Wick's sneaking in the swimming pool, and he's like behind a little glass door, and he sees Theon Greyjoy, clear shot, and he fucking misses,
Ah.
and then proceeds to chase him through a nightclub, shooting everyone that gets in the way in the face.
Shooting him in the head. Yep.
It's like, "Oh, bodyguard, I'm going to pull on your tie and shoot you in the face." Oh, and then another guy comes up. He's on rollerblades. Oh, he falls over, gets shot in the face. Guy sneaks up on John Wick. He gets fucking like judo flipped and then shot in the face. And then he fights a guy who kicks him off the thing, and he falls on the floor and he gets shot in the chest, but he's got a bulletproof vest on. I think that happened.
He
No, he put
survives?
on a bulletproof vest. That's what bulletproof vests are for, Cramp. Anyway, and then, yeah, gets shot in the face. And then he runs away, and then old fucking Alfie Allen, I can't remember what his actual name is. And then he gets in a car, and he drives away. And then, oh, gosh darn it, John Wick's missed his chance. He's all like, "Oh, I guess I'll go home." And then he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll just go home and get some food." And then he goes back to the hotel. Yeah, he does get shot. Yeah, he does get shot, because in the hotel, he gets some food and some brandy and a little Asian doctor who stitches him up.
Mhm.
That comes in as part of the hotel cost.
Oh, okay. That was nice
It's
of
like
them.
a package deal. Like, we'll give you a lovely steak and a brandy and a little Asian doctor to stitch you up again. And he's all like, "Stitch me up." I might be getting my scenes mixed up.
So he's back in the
Fuck
room.
it, we're doing it live. And then, oh shit, I missed a bit. Fuck, missed a very important part of this entire movie.
Tell it now.
Fucking Green Goblin. Fucking
Harry Osborn?
Russian. No,
Or, no, Norman?
Norman Osborn,
Norman Osborn?
aka Willem Dafoe,
Yes.
aka
AKA
you know,
Rick
that
in
guy.
Death Note.
Wow Cranberry.
It's gonna happen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm not joking. This is actually a thing.
What?
He's gonna, in the next,
Oh my god, he is. Ah, that's some good news. But anyway, yeah. So Russian guys were like, "Will you kill John Wick for $2 million?" And he's all like, "Yeah, sure. Just let me get my sniper rifle out from behind the piano." So he gets his sniper rifle out from behind the piano and just starts cleaning it. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess that's
was
what people
prepared.
do. I don't know an awful lot about guns. Guess he was cleaning it to stop bullets from exploding.
That's how guns work.
I don't know. They're not legal here.
So, yet another person tasked to kill John
Yeah,
Wick.
Green Goblin. Yeah, he's like, you didn't do too great with Spider-Man, but I need you to kill John Wick. I'll get you, Spider-Man. I'll get you, John Wick. Anyway,
Flies
yeah,
away
and
on the hovercraft.
yeah, he's like, pshoo. And then,
It's good for sniping.
and then we're back to the hotel. And John Wick's in bed, and he's had a nice brandy and a nice meal. He's like, oh, I sure am sleepy. And he gets into bed, and the woman who was in the nightclub with the cigarette, I told you we'd go back to her.
Here she is.
She was in his room.
The whole
She
time.
did not have good intentions, and she's gonna kill him.
No.
But the Green Goblin's got a sniper rifle, and he shoots the pillow, and then John Wick gets up, and then they have a big fight, and she fucking hits him, he fucking elbows her in the head, and punches her in the nose, and then she fucking elbows him, and there's like these bullet holes, and the blood's going out of his belly, and he's all like, "You're a bitch."
Wait, did he get shot?
Yeah, he got shot in the nightclub. Cranberry, you're not paying
it's
attention.
an old wound. Okay.
Yeah, because he gets the bulletproof vest. But obviously didn't stop the bullet. Yeah, because he's got the little Asian doctor to stitch him out.
Go on.
We'll call him Jimmy.
Yes, very beautiful, unique name.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Right as a John Wick, couldn't think of many names.
That's it. That's now my number one scene in John Wick. He opens the door. Hey, Jimmy. Oh, God. But yeah, and then he's fighting this woman, and she does like a flip, and then he punches her, and then she punches him, and then he punches her. I'm not very good at explaining fight scenes. They fight, and I think she gets knocked out, or she gets smacked down. He lays the smack down, like Stone Cold Stunner, fucking the People's Elbow, all of those top moves. And then
So he wins the fight.
he wins the fight because he's John Wick.
Mm-hmm. He does not shoot her in the head.
He didn't shoot her in the head, no, because they made a rule that you're not allowed to kill people in the hotel. But she broke that rule because she tried to kill him.
Oh.
So then he like ties her up, and he meets this dude called Jimmy. He's
A
like,
different Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Just to be clear,
Hey.
different Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy. He's like, I need you to point a gun at this woman, give you some chocolate coins. And he's like, oh, okay. And then she like gets information out of him. She's like, you tell me what I want to know, Perkins, or I'll kill you. And then he's all like, here's some information about a place that's got lots of money in it.
Uh-huh.
And the Russian men would be very upset if you were to burn it down. So John Wick's all like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Spends the whole movie doing things that he's been told not to do. And I was like, John Wick, don't kill those people. No, I'm going to do it. John Wick, don't lose your wife to a horrible illness. He's like, I'm going to do
Someone
it.
warned him.
Yeah, the dog.
Oh my
Dog's
God.
like it was like his roommate in college.
There's a lot of stuff they don't explain in John Wick, but they decided to.
There is a lot of stuff
over-explain
they
the
don't
dog.
explain in John Wick. And then he's all like, I'm going to go to this. So he goes to a church. He shoots everyone in the church in the head. And then he meets the priest. And he's all like, take me downstairs to the secret place that I know about. Because it's clearly not a very good secret. He's all like, ladies, get out. Because there were ladies in there counting money. And he's like, get the fuck out. And he burns it all there. And then you don't know where he is. And then the Russian gangster is all like, fucking John Wick, fucking burning down my shit. That I needed that stuff, dick. It's like you're dick, John Wick. More like John Dick. And then,
So finally, this is the last straw. They got pissed enough. Nothing else pissed them off.
more like John Dick. You dick. And he's walking, and then out of nowhere, spontaneously, I think two of his buddies get shot in the head. Obviously, John Wick's around. And then there's like a
His
big old
trademark
shootout, and more people getting shot in the head. Like, he's very good at it.
Uh-huh.
And then more people get shot in the head, and then out of fucking nowhere, some car does like a big old booty shake, fucking knocks John Wick on his ass, and then he gets knocked unconscious, and then he wakes up and he's tied to a chair, and he's all like, oh, I guess this is it for me. Now, if people were smart, and if people watch movies, they would have just shot him in the head there, but they didn't. The bad guy decides to do some monologuing, which is, as we know, is always
Rookie
a good
mistake.
idea. It's a rookie mistake. You shouldn't monologue. especially when you've got the guy that you want to kill tied to a chair. And he's all like, "Nah, you're a dick, and you try to kill my son, and you burn down my stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, but he killed my dog." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's just a dog." He's like, "It's not just a dog. I was sad, and then I got the dog, and then I was less sad, and then you killed my dog. Now I'm angry." He's all like, "Yeah, but it's just a dog. I mean, you burned down my pieces of shit." And he was like, "Yeah, but they're just fucking bits of paper." And he was like, "Nah, man, they was like mad important."
It's
And
a
then
philosophical discussion that they're having.
and then John Wick's all like, "Oh, people keep asking me if I'm John Wick. My name's John Wick, but I guess I'm gonna start killing people again," as if he hasn't been doing it the whole movie anyway. And then, where were we? Yeah, and then he's in a church. And then they put a baggie over his head, which they always warn you not to do in school, because you might suffocate. So I think that was the intention, and they were trying to suffocate him, and then a bullet goes out of the window, and he shoots a dude in the head. And then it was old Green Goblin, matey, Jimmy,
Good old Jimmy.
old Goblin Jimmy, and he's all like, "Oh, I got your back." And he shoots the people, and then John Wick like wriggles out of the chair, and he cuts the rope on his hands, and then there's a big old kung fu match, and then he kills the guy, but obviously the Russian guy doesn't know this, and he's fucked off. You're like, "Oh, I have a lunch appointment at 3. So he leaves, and then John Wick comes back and he shoots everyone else in the head. Like,
It's trademark attack.
Like the entire movie could probably be described as John Wick or Keanu Reeves shooting people in the head. That's the whole movie.
It's a nice tagline
There is-
for a movie.
I would watch it.
You
I
did.
did. This is my recollection of that film. I would also like to point out I haven't seen John Wick in at least, I'm going to go ahead and say maybe a month or so.
I was expecting that number to be different. So he gets an assist.
So he gets an assist, like tap in Green Goblin, and then he gets up and then he shoots people in the head. And then he runs out and then he shoots the Russian dudes in the head. The Russian guy gets out and he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Every time I try to kill you, you just shoot all my people in the head." And then John Wick's all like, "Tell people to stop trying to kill me." And he's like, "Okay, I'll do it." He's like, "Now tell me where your son is so I can shoot him in the head." He's like, "Ah, fuck's sake." It's like, I mean, I don't want you to kill my son, but I also don't want you to shoot me in the head. Very difficult. Quite an easy decision because fuck that guy. No one likes him in the movie. No one even likes him in Game of Thrones. Like, he's built a career on being disliked. I love you, Alfie Allen. But then, if you're watching this, we should be friends. You can get me in Game of Thrones because I want to be in that show. I'll play whatever. I'll be one of the dragons. Rah.
You'll
And then-
mocap the dragons.
Yeah, I'll just be like the mocap. I'll just have like a little big dragon on my head and I'll wear like bright green and I'll be like, "I'm a dragon. Rah. Give me gold." Did you know there's a theory as to why dragons like gold so much?
What's the theory?
Obviously, gold is a metal, and as metals go, it's a very, very good conductor for heat.
Oh.
Dragons are quite hot, aren't they? Because they make a lot of fire. And gold, as itself, is very good at being cold. They think the dragons hoard all of this gold to lie on to cool themselves down.
They just do it to be comfy.
Yeah, comfy gold.
Maybe that's why Keanu had all the doubloons.
Yeah, because he's actually a dragon. They'll touch up on that on John Wick 2.
Where were we?
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, tell me where your son is, or I'm going to shoot you in the head." And he's like, "Ah, shit. He's at his house playing video games. Fuck, now go away." So the Russian dude goes home and smokes a joint. Well, it's not a cigarette. It's like the wacky tobacco. You know, the sideways cigarette.
Yep.
The devil's lettuce.
Yep. You got more you want.
No, that's it, Ace. That's all I got.
Okay.
And then, for some reason, John Wick's got a sniper rifle, and he's already at the dude's house, because he can fly, because he's a dragon. And he's all like, "Pachoo!" and shoots a guy in the head. And then, "Pachoo!" He shoots another guy in the head. And the whole time, this guy's mate is playing Halo. "Would you stop playing that video game?" But the guy's got his headphones on, so you can't hear him, as every young male does when they're playing video games. And then John Wick's like, "Pachoo!" Dude gets shot in the head. And "Pachoo!" Another guy gets shot in the head. And then, "Pachoo!" And then the dude playing the video game gets shot in the head. And then Theon Greyjoy's like, "Oh, fuck, he just got shot in the head. Now I can't play video games." And he's like, "Ah, shit, I'm going to go to my friend's house. He's got video games." So he runs downstairs, goes to get in the car, and then boom, car explodes. John Wick's one step ahead. And he's like, "Ah, shit, I guess I'll run this way." And then he's running, and then John Wick kind of sneaks out the corner and goes, "Oh, hey, it's me, He shoots him in the belly. And he's like, falls over and he's like, oh no, you shot me in the belly. Because, it's John Wick. And we all know he's famous for shooting people in the belly. And then he walks up and he's like 4 foot away. And he goes, and shoots him in the head.
Finally does it?
He finally does it. He finally shoots him in the head. And he's like, I sure do feel better about shooting him in the head. I guess I'm going to go to my friend Jimmy's house. We'll celebrate with a refreshing Coors Light.
It was a long advert.
But then Jimmy, his name's not Jimmy.
Which Jimmy are we talking about?
Green Goblin.
Okay.
Willem Dafoe.
Thank you.
That geezer. Top lad. I loved him in Finding Nemo. What?
So
He was in Finding
he has
Nemo.
a Coors Light with the fish from Finding Nemo. Willem Dafoe, you've done well for yourself with
Willem Dafoe
all that
is a
stuff
great
you've done.
actor. He was in such hits as Spider-Man
and Finding Nemo.
and Spider-Man 2.
Let's finish John Wick.
Let's just finish John Wick.
How far in the movie are we?
I think we're about 20 minutes in. It's fine though, because the movie's only 25 minutes long.
Okay. that was a long segment that progressed very
Right?
quickly in the film.
and then old Green Goblin Jimmy, he's like, oh, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have a lovely, refreshing orange smoothie.
An orange Julius after a long day.
Yeah, I'm going to have a Bloody Mary on the rocks with a celery stick. And he gets in there and then he's like, shit. Because the Russian dude's there. He's like, you should have killed John Wick, but you didn't. You stabbed me in the back. That's not a very good accent. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anybody that's watching this that is Russian. I don't know how to do a Russian accent. If you want me to learn, like, comment, and subscribe.
Let's buy Cassini,
but don't know
soon.
Because I still won't.
An honest promise, if nothing else.
And then Green Lantern's like, I'm gonna take my watch off. I'm gonna take my wallet out of my pocket. And I'm gonna take my keys out of my pocket. Then I'm gonna take my jacket off. And he's like, oh, you guys are gonna beat me up? Okay. And they beat him up. That's basically how it went.
Everyone understood what was happening.
And then the Russian dude's got like his fists in ice because he's been punching hard. And he's like, you're a dick. You should have killed John Wick. And then he's all like, I'm going to kill you now. And then Willem Dafoe's like, nah, I'm going to die under my own terms. He stands up because he wasn't tied down. He shoots people. And then the Russian guy shoots him. And he's all like, bah, 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 bah. Then he calls John Wick. Hey, John Wick, you killed my son because my son killed your dog. Now I killed your friend. I hope that makes us even. And then John Wick's like, I don't think you know how this shit works. He kills a friend because John Wick kills the man because the man kills the dog. That's not even. There's got to be at least one more death involved. John Wick's all like, well, the only way we're going to be even now is if I kill you. And he's like, fucking bring it on. I'm like a Russian mob boss. And he's like, yeah, but I'm John Wick, though. Like, shit, forgot about that. And then he finds the Russian mob boss. No, not yet. Bumps into Ian McShane. Ian McShane is... Yes. He's like, oh, hello, John Wick. Very sorry about the trouble. Very sorry about the trouble that you had in the hotel. Just going to let you know that the Russian man is going to get on a helicopter with a big old whirly bird. And then he's like, oh, Mrs. Perkins. And Mrs. Perkins is like, what? He's like, you broke the rules. And then they'll shoot her in the head.
So he knows that he's going to be on a helicopter.
So he knows he's going to get on a helicopter. So he drives and he drives and he drives. And then he finds him. And then he shoots the people in the head. And then the car crashes. And he gets out. And then he runs away. And then John Wick chases him. And then he's all like, no, John Wick, please don't shoot me. Let's use our fists like civilized people. I think he pulled out a knife. And then John Wick's all like, that ain't nothing but a shit. And then he turns the knife on him and stabs him. And then he dies. And then John Wick crashes his car. And he gets out, whaps out his iPhone. And he goes on Snapchat. And he gets a little Snapchat from his wife, who's dead. And he looks at it. And then he falls asleep. And that's the end. I think that's the end of the movie.
Asleep.
He might pass out. I'm pretty sure he got shot. But he falls asleep on... No, he doesn't. He doesn't do that. He gets up. No, he doesn't do that. He gets up. And then he breaks a window, goes in, and he's in a vet, and he goes into a vet's, and he gets some painkillers, and then he stitches himself up, and he sees there's a little pupper in one of the cages, because he's in a vet. Let's ignore the fact that this dog's probably incredibly ill, let's just open up the cage and take the little pupper. So not only is John Wick a massive murderer, but he also steals people's dogs. Anyway, and he gets a little dog back, and he's all like, "Oh, let's go, little Jimmy." Dog's called Jimmy. He's like, "Let's go, little Jimmy." And then that was John Wick.
Yay!
Yay!
Roll credits.
Roll the credits.
Although the way you told it, there was kind of a stinger, which was the end of the movie. Tune in next time to the next Cassini Explains.